Here we have another ASUS laptop. This one here is pretty nice. It's the 2024 ASUS TUF A16. This one here has, I guess, kind of last generation because we're at the cusp of the new stuff coming. 4000 series NVIDIA. It's weird when you report these videos like right when the new stuff's coming out, but it does have a new or current generation CPU, the Ryzen AI HX370. So I'm going to consider this a modern laptop because it has the modern CPU, but it's still using last generation's GPU. This one here is pretty nice. It's an ASUS TUF, so it's going to be kind of their like very gamer focused, maybe not as much as the Strix. TUF stuff, I find it to be like still pretty sleek. You can see it's a pretty sleek setup there. Kind of some similarities to something like a Lenovo Legion in terms of design. You can see that there. Overall, it's not going to scream gamer, but it definitely has some gamer vibes to it overall, the RGB kind of style keyboard. This one here is definitely focusing on performance as much as they can.
Okay, so let's come in here and look at the different options. I have the brand new 2025 that's coming out. This one is kind of a mid 2024, but you can still buy it. So options here, HX370 AMD processor. It's a fantastic processor. I've done a lot of testing on it. This is a 4060 option. I think you can step it up. So we'll come down here, 16 gigabytes or 32 gigabytes. It's soldered. So you probably want to jump into the 32 there. That's a lot of money. Holy crap. You can see here, though, it does jump up to the 4070 at the same time. So 4060 versus 4070. Unfortunately, the 4070 is tied into 32 gigabytes. You can't get a 4060 with 32 gigabytes. And the performance difference between these two GPUs is not much, but it is what it is. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing 32 gigabytes 4070. A couple different storage options here, whatever, it is what it is there. So there's that single processor. It's a fantastic processor. It scales very well at low watts, but if you keep putting more watts into it, it performs even better. So it's very good. 4070 is fine. For a thin laptop, it's probably where you want to go. Getting a 4080 or 4090 in a thin chassis means you're probably going to have less watts, therefore less performance. Here it's 115 watts, so it's full wattage 4070, technically more than full watts. You don't need that much, so that means that you're going to be able to run this in balanced mode, or as they call it, performance, without any issues. The screen is good, 1600p screen, 100% sRGB. Personally, I preferred a DCI-P3 color space, but no complaints here. Everything looks good there. It is soldered RAM, so make sure you get 32. Spending this kind of money on 16 is a waste of money. Storage is expandable, so it comes with it, whatever. And you do get some decent ports here. USB 4 is critical. Having a nice USB 4 is important. Now there is the brand new model that's coming out. It's not out yet, but it looks like they've changed a few things here. Ryzen 7 260 processor. I've never tested it, so I don't know what's going on with it, so I can't comment on it yet, but
I can foresee with the new laptops come out, the new 5000 series stuff, this specific SKU here is probably going to start to really drop in price. And at that point, it starts to become very compelling. So let's jump into this review here. I'll go over this pretty in depth, give you an idea if this ASUS TUF A16 with the Ryzen AI chip is worth your money and potentially something you should keep your eye on once laptop sales start to hit, probably in the late spring and the summer. ASUS TUF A16 2024. Not super slim, not super heavy. It's kind of in the middle. Definitely has some metal on it. So 2,220 grams. So that's around 5 pounds. A decent sized charger. Let's put that on there. 2,891. So you get your weight up pretty fast there. It does charge over USB-C, but not with full performance. So we do have a nice metal lid. Very nice. Helps with make it feel a little bit premium. It does have a big plastic bum, the Gundam style, like we used to get on the Legions back in the day, and I was not a fan when they were plastic, but it's not too thick, at least. You can see that there. It just kind of sticks out. This one here is not used for I/O, but it is used for cooling, which is fine. So we do get a nice big radiator there. Get some cooling out of there. We'll see how it runs. It feels pretty premium in the hand. Definitely a gaming laptop aesthetic to it. Plastic top or metal top there. Very gamer bottom, plastic, hard plastic, but should be relatively rugged. Plastic deck in here as well, so it's not going to compete with, a Legion 7 Slim or something that's all metal, or Asus G14, G16. It's also going to massively outperform Asus's own G16 type stuff. Left side we do get a proprietary power connector, RJ45 Ethernet, HDMI, so good so far. 2 USB-C. Looks like the 10 gigabit. That's fine. I'd like to see USB 4 for both, but it's a budget option. Another 10 gigabit, but this time it is USB-A. Nice. Headphone microphone combo jack. Right side, just one more USB-A. So pretty good I/O overall. It's a gaming laptop, so you'd hope there'd be pretty good I/O. Looks decent overall. Can open up and get a look at the inside in a sec, but first let's start here. See that? Very gamer look, very tough look. It's got the white kind of edge around the keycaps, which will help with, I guess, RGB. Black there, black here. Not exactly my kind of laptop, but it's not as gamery as some. So it's kind of in the middle. It's like a little bit old school gamer, but not super like in your face gamer. So that's nice. Oh, USB 4 on the left there, telling you specifically which one. It's kind of cool. If you're just blindly plugging it in, you know which one's the 10 and the 4. It's good for docks and that. Power on. You do get the dedicated volume ups in that, which I do like a lot, actually. And it's not bezel-less, but it has relatively thin bezels overall. So let's get inside. Do you like a bunch of different screw lengths? Well, I have the laptop for you. 2 long ones. Medium, 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 medium. Short, and this is a locked one, meaning it has a washer on the back. Plastic bottom. It's a thicker type of plastic that some Lenovo's use and some MSI's use, and apparently ASUS. Lots of structure in here, so it should feel, that's why it feels rugged, even though it's plastic. And some foamage over the battery to help with heat and impact, I suppose. If you slam it, you won't bang your battery, which can cause it to set on fire. One of the negatives of this laptop is it does have soldered RAM. Soldered RAM is dumb on a laptop of this size. I guess it runs faster, so that's nice, but there's no upgrade. So make sure you get the mount that you want. It does come with 16 or 32. So I would highly recommend moving away from the 16 gigabyte at this price. It's just not worth it, to be honest. Anyway, so RAM soldered. There is a lot of upgradability nonetheless. There is an NVMe here with a heatsink on it. So that's one, 2280 NVMe. There's a second 2280 that goes over the Wi-Fi being upgradable. You're not going to want to put in a dual-sided one here because it's going to be banging against all these chips here. So looks like there might be enough room on that side there. So just be aware of that. It's going to sit on top of that. Looks fine though. Overall, dual NVMe is kind of critical in my opinion. Decent looking speakers. They're not the crappy circular kind. They're kind of that oval, rectangular, higher wattage one. So they should sound okay. Generally speaking, I find ASUS speakers sound good, just in general. Big 90 watt hour battery with this CPU in this chip, not being like an Intel 14th gen or anything dumb like that. Should park well. It should be relatively efficient. So this thing should have good battery life. We'll find out. Cooling looks not bad. So we do get 1, 2, 3 heat pipes shared between them running over the chips. One coming down here to some VRMs. A couple coming up here, I guess, just generally to be exhausted out, which is interesting. That normally would be something if you had like the G16, which had an auxiliary fan there. And then you do get two decent looking, you do get 2 decently sized fans here, nothing huge. I'm probably not going to like these fans, we will see, but usually I find these shark tooth ones to have a really pitchy noise that I can pick up. Some people may not. The G14 and the G16 have this annoying pitchy thing here, whereas like, for example, the ProArt Lenovo, or the ASUS ProArt, which has the same chip as this here, actually does not have these weird annoying shark tooth ones. And I find it runs just as cool as the G16, G14, but it also does not annoy me. We'll find out. That just might be something to do with those laptops, but that's that. So it looks fine inside. Not having upgradable RAM is a bit of an L, especially when we have this huge motherboard slot here where it could easily fit. I mean, they have the chips there. Okay, let's start with the keyboard this time. Change things up for a change. So we got ourselves a keyboard with some RGB. Not super bright, I guess I'd say, but it's RGB. And if you like RGB, you'll probably like it. Let's see how bright it gets. Yeah, not too bad. From the top, it's actually less noticeable. Obviously, you get the ASD for gameage, so you know where to place your hands. And on an angle, you actually get slightly more, just go like that, because there's shine through on that there. So you get a little bit. They're this kind of like cuboidal chiclet style that some different laptops use. ASUS doesn't use this on very many laptops, actually. And a dedicated numpad. Some people may not like that, but I think for a 16-inch laptop that isn't just for like writers, having a numpad is nice. People are going to be buying this for gaming, but also like students and like engineering and things like that. Man, that's such bad typing accuracy there. I'm just not used to the keyboard. It's fine. It's fine. ASUS themselves have way better keyboards. Like the VivoBooks have nicer keyboards. The ZenBooks have nicer keyboards. The Strix have nicer keyboards. And the Zephyrs have nicer keyboards. So I would call this ASUS's ASUS worst keyboard, but they have nice keyboards. So this would still be fine. Nice big trackpad on this, despite it being in the TUF lineup, not their super premium. Nice big trackpad, but it's not like meme level large. It's like as big as I'd want it to be. Smooth. This chassis is texture. This is smooth. And pretty good click. Nothing. A little gummy on the left for my liking again, but I'm biased. So pretty good reds right off the bat. I mean, 100% sRGB reds, looking good. Not quite as vivid as a 100% DCI-P. It may not show up on camera, but there's a little bit of a pinkishness to this, whereas if you have 100% DCI-P, the reds really pop. And you can see it down here. It's got a little bit of a pinkish, orangish pinkish kind of thing going on. Whereas when you get into the DCI-P, it'll really pop. Like it becomes a much more vibrant red. But this is still pretty good. It's not some 45% NTSC mess. Blacks look really good, actually, to be honest. Even without adjusting the camera, they look really good. So I'm actually liking these blacks here. No bleed at all. The contrast looks pretty good on this, actually. It's nice. Going more. I think this is going to be a pretty good screen for gaming. Yeah, the greens look great. So, and no reflectivity, really. It's actually a very anti-reflective screen. It doesn't have that like anti-reflective film that makes it look washed out. It just is an anti-reflective screen. So pretty good sRGB screen. For gaming, it's going to be a very good sRGB screen. It's going to be awesome. For content creation, you can probably do a fair bit on it. Maybe not like professional level, where you'd be getting like a Pro Art laptop from ASUS. But overall, like you could easily do professional level. You could definitely do some, you know, casual graphic design stuff that I do, like YouTube. The color accuracy is not that big of a deal as long as it's relatively good. I still prefer DCI-P because the reds will saturate a bit more for games, but this should be good. Like when you're gaming on this and then you play this system here and then you set it up beside, you know, 45% NTSC screen, you'll notice the difference and you'll be like, wow, this is considerably better. All right, so let's check out the speakers here. Really not sure how they're going to sound. Okay, these are going to get very loud. They're tuned to be loud. So just if you have headphones, immediately turn them down while I do this. They're good. They're good. Not going to compete, not even in the same realm as the, I guess, VivoBook. They're not even in the same realm as the ASUS Zephyrs G14, G16, that kind of thing. ProArt, not even in the discussion of that. They'd be closer to like a VivoBook or something like that. They're nice. They're good, though. For a gaming laptop, they're good. I'd say they're good. Let's do some Cinebench runs now. Not for performance, however, just for noise. We'll have the... Okay, so I've just been kind of browsing, not doing much, and we're idling around 45 to 50 degrees. Totally fine. Let's throw it into Maximer mode first, turbo. Try to get an idea of how much this can actually push. So 75, 80 watts, very high wattage variant of the HX370. This chip can also perform very well at low watts. I have it in a handheld right here, with the same chip. However, it's at a 30 watt max, and it performs very well. We'll get a Cinebench score about 17,000, 18,000 on that one. Let's see what these extra wattages will get us on this laptop. We're up to 80, probably a lot. Yeah, 22,000, 23,000, so very performant. CPU performance, an extra, what is that, like 5-ish, maybe even 6,000 over a lower wattage variant of this. This thing's going to be very powerful for things like video editing, rendering, code compile, because it's such a powerful CPU. A little loud, but whatever. Not throttling at all. Zero throttle. 55. So it's not as loud as some other gaming laptops, some big boys, but there is a little bit of a pitchy whine. The mic may pick it up, it may not. There's like a little bit of a sound. It's those aggressive teeth design that ASUS uses. I don't know why they use those fans. They're really annoying. Like, just don't put them in the laptop. Use the ones that you have in your Pro Art. You already have the fans. I don't know. Maybe they work better. Like that, it is running cool. So maybe it runs cooler or something. But the fan is annoying. Performance mode, however, is much quieter. It still has that pitchy noise, but it's not quite as drilling into my brain. It's still there, to be fair. It is still there. So if you're sensitive to annoying pitchy noises, that's one thing. The CPU wattage only did drop by about 10-ish. 45. Still going down. Okay, it's actually going to be a quiet laptop then. Just peek at the scores. See, like, what did we drop there? 600 points out of 23,000 or something, whatever it was, I don't remember. Not much. Didn't drop much. It's so quiet now. Basically, this laptop is either incredibly annoying on turbo or not annoying at all and just as performant. So good. Just leave it in performance mode and you're going to be happy like I am now. Looking at the laptop with my thermal camera, you can see that the center of the keyboard is actually fairly hot. Near the back, especially 45 or so degrees, where your hands are going to be not quite as bad. On the side here, no real issues. A lot of heat being pumped out the back, so it is evacuating heat pretty well out of the back of the laptop. On the bottom, it's pretty warm. 45, 46, almost up to 50 degrees in the center there. If you have it on a desk or something, you won't really notice. However, the back of the laptop sitting on your legs could get a little bit warm, so you may want to use some type of pad or something to get, basically get the laptop off of your actual skin so it's not super hot. Cinebench scores here, you can see that in silent mode, we're getting a very good score, 20,000. It's incredibly good for silent mode. Then moving over to performance mode, we're getting 22,000, also incredibly performant. And then I kicked it up to turbo and it's up to 23. So there's really no reason to go into turbo mode. It's just going to be much noisier, much hotter, and you're not really going to get much more performance. The most impressive part here is silent mode. As I mentioned, this CPU does scale very well at low watts. Wi-Fi is very good. This is the worst area of my house and we're getting very good Wi-Fi, so very good reception and very good speed on this laptop. The included NVMe is okay. It's a mid-range Gen 4 drive. Nothing special, but again, you can upgrade it and there's a second slot. Built-in webcam. Sorry, a moment of lag. It's actually not a very good webcam. I have pretty good lighting. I have light there, light here, light there, and light there. Not a lot directly on the front, but it's a little bit dark and a little bit washed out. However, it's a gaming laptop, so I don't think most people are going to care. It's going to be enough if you're streaming from the laptop. You throw your thing up in the corner, whatever, and stream off of it. It's more than enough for that. Meetings is going to be more than enough, but doing like high-level YouTube on it's not going to be good for that. But I would say it's totally fine. Okay, we'll do a little bit of Black Myth Wukong and check some temperatures and noise and that. We're in performance mode. It actually is pretty annoying because it's sitting the GPU and the CPU, so the fans are going faster than just Cinebench. It's not very loud. It's just that has that whiny noise due to those like shark fin style fans, which I really don't like. Okay, so that's fine. Let's go in and swap up to turbo. It's probably going to be really loud now. The order of these is a little weird just because the overlay software doesn't have the newer CPUs anymore. Yeah, see now it's actually pretty loud. Memory junction temperature 96, GPU temperature 83. CPU is actually not pulling a ton of watts. Most of it's going to the GPU. It's just not GPU bound, or not CPU bound at this resolution. So good performance, and that obviously we'll see when we get to the performance section, but definitely very loud. Let's go in here to silent mode. GPU power drops down a ton, but the 4070 is an efficient GPU, so you should be able to still game very well at 60. I mean, that's like what a G16 pulls at full. An ASUS Zephyrus G16. So CPU's down to 20, and the CPU is also very efficient here. So it's still pretty loud, but the wattages are lower. Temperatures are a little bit lower too. You can see core temperatures down to 63. GPU is still pretty spicy, but it's fine. Okay, so let's do a little bit of just like kind of max. We'll just get a max idea of performance here and go from there. So it is going to be loud, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's get into here and we'll look at some actual gameplay footage. So we're at 1600p, which is the native resolution, but we are using scaling. Let's turn that up probably. Let's go 70% DLSS. Let's go with high. So high, 70% DLSS, and then that's on. It should run very well, honestly. It is a full wattage system. Yeah, very well. Now again, we do have AMD frame gen, which is nice because we have an AMD CPU. It's running incredibly well. The laptop's actually vibrating, just so you know, which is interesting. A little bit of vibration is what it is. Let's turn the fans down, because it's kind of annoying. Performance mode, similar frames, much less annoying. So I think I'm going to do a lot of this video actually in performance mode. You can just add like 3%, 4% performance if you go into turbo, but it is pretty annoying, to be honest. So, 80, 90 watts, I'd consider basically full performance on a 4070. Adding another 10 watts doesn't do anything. You might get a couple percentage, and the CPU is not going to be bound here at all. So we'll go like that. The laptop is no longer just straight up vibrating. So turbo mode, as with most ASUS laptops, is overkill and kind of excessive, especially with those annoying fans. But performance mode is considerably more tolerable. Now I do wonder, let's turn frame gen off. Frame gen is well implemented in this game. So without frame gen, it's still running very well. Again, we have a 4070 here. It's going to be very capable, up to full wattage, but a lot of the time you don't need full wattage. The CPU is very powerful in the system, and it scales very well at low watts. So even at 30, 35 watts, you're still going to get a ton of performance in something like games. So you're really never going to be CPU bound. If you drop the resolution a ton, maybe, but I don't know why you do that. You guys want to watch me die, like, very badly? I'm also on a mouse and keyboard, which is probably not ideal. Click, 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 click. Dead. Yeah. Impossible. Anyways, yeah, it runs well. So the gaming performance is going to be very good on this laptop. I don't need to test more games. I mean, we know what the CPU can do, what the GPU can do in general, and we've shown that in this platform it runs very well. So we know it's going to run really well. I would recommend in a lot of cases, I don't know if I haven't watched any reviews of this, but if you watch other people's reviews and they talk about the noise, it is very annoying at turbo, like actually legitimately very annoying. The laptop actually vibrates. It's pretty bad. However, if you put it into that kind of performance mode or some type of custom mode, you're going to get considerably less noise, and it's not going to be really changing the performance that much. It's unfortunate that you're not able to run a laptop like this in full wattages, but ASUS just chose those, what I think is probably to blame, those very annoying fans, unfortunately. Okay, that's the review. I've actually had this laptop for a while. Honestly, probably like 2 weeks. I've just been dabbling with it on and off. There may be like footage from all over the place, but even before I started recording, I started using it for a little while. So my take on the laptop, it's way overpriced at MSRP, way overpriced, which is pretty typical. I mean, most gaming laptops come out with kind of a crazy price. ASUS is like notoriously bad for that. Lenovo does it too, but then they just like immediately discount it the next week. ASUS will like sit on that price for as long as they can. So at base price, like what I've been seeing, it's not worth it. Even the sale price that I paid, I got it for like $200 or $300 off Canadian. It's not worth it. It's like $2,000 for a 4070 laptop. Yeah, it has a new CPU and everything, but it's just not worth it. But when this thing starts to go on some serious price cuts, because there's going to be new stuff coming out with the Blackwell and Blackwell NVIDIA chips coming out, some new powerful iGPU stuff, so who knows what's going to come out. But I can foresee price drops on this, like major price drops on this. So let's go over the negatives first, because there's not that many. We already talked about the price being an issue. That's probably the biggest one. Otherwise, you know, the fans, it has those like shark teeth ASUS fans. If you watch my teardown part of this video, I do not like those fans. They're super annoying. They put them in the G16 and the G14. Both are super annoying and they have a pitchy whine. Then there's their ASUS ProArt 16, which is essentially the same laptop as the G16 with some tweaks, but they put in like a normal laptop fan. It runs just as cool and there's no pitchy annoying fan noise. So ASUS, stop using those stupid shark fins. I don't know like why. Like no one else uses them. And your laptops have the worst for that pitchy, high-pitched noise. It really bothers me. So stop doing that. Fortunately, that's primarily present in turbo mode. As with a lot of these laptops, gaming laptops in general, especially the ASUS stuff, the turbo mode is just like balls to the wall. Absolute everything goes at full wattages. And with this combination here, the HX370 chip and the 4070, it's unneeded. You're going to be getting almost 100% performance when you drop those watts, a fair bit. Like if you drop the watts 20%, 30%, you're probably going to lose like 2, 3, 4% total performance at most. So in a lot of cases, you can just run this thing in performance mode. And that's what I've been doing for a while with a lot of laptops, not just ASUS stuff, but even like Lenovo stuff, HP stuff. You know, a lot of times if you're getting like a 4060, 4050, 4070 and an efficient AMD CPU, which most of those have that I've been testing, you just throw it in like a balance mode, or in this case, it's called performance mode. You drop, 20% watts off the CPU, maybe more. You drop 20 or 30% off the GPU, and you're losing like a few frames, like literally like a couple frames. And the laptop is so much cooler and so much quieter. So that's something to be considered here. If you've seen other people's reviews, I don't watch other people's reviews typically before I do my own, because I want my own opinion. If they talk about it and say it's super loud, or in my case, I say it's super annoying. It's not so loud, it's just annoying. Be aware that you can drop that performance mode down, really not compromise your performance at all, honestly, I'll say, to be honest. But it's going to be way quieter and less pitchy. So that's the negative kind of covered. Positives wise, I mean, nice keyboard, nice trackpad, pretty nice chassis. It's got a lot of plastic on it, but I mean, again, super expensive laptop. You'd like to see more metal, but I think it will probably go on sale. Screen is good too, 100% sRGB screen, not DCI-P, but is good overall. Audio is good overall. So just generally a nice laptop. Like, yep, you just buy it and you're like, yeah, it's a nice laptop. If someone were to say like, yeah, I'm considering getting an ASUS TUF A16, this exact specification, I can get it for like 40% off. Should I buy it? I'd be like, yeah, of course you should buy it. It's a great price. But if someone's like, I'm going to buy this laptop and it's like $100 off, should I buy it? I'd be like, I would just say, no, don't do that. You can get a better laptop for that price, in all honesty. So that's the laptop there, the ASUS TUF A16. It's overall a pretty nice laptop, pretty good. The only real negatives can be easily overcome. Sales, it goes on sale, and then you get a good price for it. And then, of course, the annoying fan, generally speaking, can be overcome by just reducing to the performance mode there and really not losing any performance, honestly. So that's the ASUS TUF. Decent laptop. I really would like to see some good sales on this. I think they will come probably late spring 2025 and summer. We're going to see some nice prices on this, and potentially, with the Blackwell stuff coming out, the 5000 series AMD, 5000 series NVIDIA stuff coming out, and some new CPUs, we might actually see this go on sale sooner than that, and at which price it's something you might want to consider.